This is our second video in the Pong series, and in this video we're going to make the left paddle work and we're going to make the ball interact with that paddle. At the end of this video, what I'd like you to do is you're going to take what you learned from this video and apply it to the right side of the playing field. So you can see that I've centered my ball in the middle of the screen, and most of this work is going to be done in code. So we're going to look at my code. We can go right up to the top. There's a few things that have been added since the last video. Again, I've typed all of this in advance so that you don't have to watch me type. The first thing is I've added space down as a Boolean. So this line of code. The reason I've created this Boolean is I want to keep track of when the space bar is pressed, and I'm going to use that essentially to serve the ball. So when you press the space bar, then the ball starts moving. Otherwise, the ball waits until there's that input. The other thing I've done is I've created a Boolean called serve, and it's working on the same setup. So it's waiting to see if space has been pressed. And when it's been pressed, if it's been pressed when serve is true, so when the game is waiting for a serve, then the ball starts moving. Otherwise, serve is basically helping us to keep from someone being able to press space in the middle of the game and serving the ball even though the ball's already in motion. So we'll just go down to our key down handler. All I've done is added that line of code, those 3 lines of code, to add the spacebar as something that we're looking for. You'll notice in the key up handler, I have not added the spacebar into that function. The reason for that is we're going to set space down to be false dynamically above. Now if I go back up to my game loop, you'll notice in my game loop I've added the left paddle in the if statement for P1 up. So if Q, essentially what's happening is if Q is being pressed, then the left paddle's Y is going to decrease by 5 pixels. The vice versa for P1 down. If P1 down is being pressed, then the left paddle is going to increase by 5 pixels. Right now I've left it so that the paddle always moves at a constant rate. We could change that later if we wanted to. Now in move ball, all I'm doing is this code already existed. We already had this code. I'm putting that code into this if statement. What this if statement says is, you can read it this way, if not serve. So what we're saying is if we're not serving, then the ball is moving. And this is the code to make the ball move around the screen. Otherwise, if space down, so if the space bar has been pressed, and then we're going to set serve equal to false, and we're going to set space down equal to false. So this space down is what's keeping track of whether we're serving or not. Lower down, this is the bouncing sequence. So the Y position hasn't changed at all from before. The top and bottom walls interact in exactly the same way. However, the left side has changed. That's the only part that I've changed. So the first thing we're looking at is how this reads is if the ball has hit the object left paddle. So if those two things have intersected, then left is equal to false. Basically, I'm turning the direction that we're going to move in. So that means if I've hit the left paddle, the ball's going to bounce off the left paddle. Basically, that's how that reads. The next thing is if the ball hits the left wall, so if the paddle misses and the ball goes beyond the paddle and hits the left wall, then we want to do something. The first thing we want to do is turn left to false. Essentially what that's doing is allowing on the next serve that the ball will not be coming back towards the left side. It will be going towards the right player. Serve is equal to true, so that's going to stop the ball from moving. and then the ball's X and Y position, we're setting its X and Y position basically to the center of the screen. The way that I found these two numbers is I move the ball roughly into the center and then check the XY position that the ball ended up in. Now, when we play this, the ball sits stationary, I hit the space bar, ball starts to move, I can move the paddle and interact with it. Notice my right side's not doing anything yet. Now if I miss, the ball stops, goes to the center. If I hit spacebar, it starts going in the opposite direction. So that's all for this tutorial. What I'd like you to do after seeing this is basically recreate the right side. So using what I've given you on the left side, you're going to make the right side operate. Thanks for watching.